So I went and I got sushi the other day. It was great. It was lovely. It was beautiful. If you haven't done it recently, I recommend doing it, like, a lot. But when I was there at the place getting sushi, I saw they had a collaboration with Demon Slayer going on the, was like stuck up on the wall or something, and they, I don't know, you could get a stupid little demon toy or a blanket or, I don't know, a fake katana or something like that. And I said, what's Demon Slayer? And now we're here. It's an anime manga, by the way. It's both. It's both. Everything's both. So today we're going to be doing a Demon Slayer fandom reaction. What? Oh my god, the crowd goes wild. They say Lumen Vale, YouTuber behind the, what did I call this channel? The Unreliable Narrator Show. What's Demon Slayer? And I say, well, luckily for you, I have the shipping wiki, also known as the most reliable website on the internet and the website love of my life. I have it pulled up right now so I can tell you the plot, which is that there's demons. Okay, there's demons and there's demon slayers, and now the demon slayers are human and they slay, and the demons are obviously demon, but I think they were like created by some mad scientist guy or something like that. He's evil, he gave them blood, you know, and there's a guy, and there's always a guy, no, there's some kid, and his name is Tanjiro, and his family got murdered. Yes, his family, he came home one day and his whole family was murdered except for his sister, Nezuko, who was turned into a demon. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but it might be, and I just saw it randomly on Twitter. I think she was turned into a demon by the guy that was making the other demons. So I don't know if he's the only one that's making demons or if that's sort of like a hobby that people are having right now in this story. But yeah, the girl gets turned into a demon, and normally the demons are just like uber evil, like hella evil, like no hope, no return. But she's got feelings, at least 3. Which is more than me. Also, so I looked at a picture of her. Is it mean to make fun of how big her forehead is? I don't like mean it personally. I just feel like they drew her forehead really big. And I don't have the smallest forehead in the world. It's not like, I don't think it's like huge, but like, why did they draw her like that? That is rude. That is rude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, the one thing I appreciate about this is she's not being fridged because she is still alive. She's just a demon and she's still there. Anyway, demons are fine and dandy, but we actually care a little bit more about the fandom than we do about the content of the show. People are always like, wow, you missed X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, I don't actually care about your show. Sorry, I care about you. Watch my channel. Form a parasocial relationship with me. I care. Really. No, really. I did start going through Twitter, as I am wont to do. And Twitter is fine. It seems like the finale for season 3 just aired like a couple of days ago. So mostly people are talking about that. So I didn't see like that much fan content. I saw a little bit of discussion about stuff that happens in the course of the series. I saw some discussion about whether season 3 was really all that it's cracked up to be, because I think some people were a little teensy weensy bit disappointed about how it went. I also saw some discourse where people were like, some people are saying that Demon Slayer fell off, I guess, but then other people were like, well, but when season 3 finale premiered, Crunchyroll's servers went down, Crunchyroll got crashed by the power of the Demon Slayer fandom. That's them slaying demons, to be clear. That's what this means. So yeah, I mean, it still seems pretty freaking popular to me, especially for just like an anime in the US. And there's supposed to be a 4th season that's gonna come out, and there was a movie, and don't worry, we'll talk about the movie later when we do drama time. But there was a movie and it made like some $1 million money of dollars, yes. So that was Twitter, was discussion of whether or not Demon Slayer fell off, with most people saying no, it did not fall off, and then some people saying Yes, it did fall off. I could look up numbers, I guess, and tell you. But it does seem to be, to me, to be one of the like kind of pandemic babies. Like I think it got really popular during the pandemic. And I just think it's also kind of like very unfair to compare either the fandom activity or even just like straight up hard numbers of who is watching what, consuming what, and how many people of those are doing that. Like I think comparing any sort of hard numbers or even soft like hype to the pandemic after the pandemic right now is not very fair. During the pandemic, nobody had anything to do other than consume media. So obviously the numbers for any kind of media and the hype for any kind of media was just so much more. It was so much more. Not only that, but we're also experiencing kind of an economic downturn right now, at least in the US. We're generally considered to be experiencing a recession. So now's a pretty bad time to make a YouTube channel, actually. No, so now is a time where people cannot spend money on things and where they are busy working to try to buy food, which has inflated at like skyrocketing rates. So I feel like comparing how popular things are now to how popular they were during the pandemic is just sort of a futile exercise. One thing I did notice about Twitter is normally when I start looking through for a specific fandom or whatever, I do see a lot of fan art usually on Twitter. I didn't really see that for Demon Slayer. I don't know if it's just because it's so popular that maybe like fan artists and fan content get a little bit drowned out in just like people reposting stills of the show. I don't know if it's because they use a hashtag that I just don't know off the top of my head, because I'm just looking up Demon Slayer and then trying to figure out if there are any acronyms for it based off of that, but it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But it just browsing through the general hashtag, didn't see a lot of fan art. And then that held true when I went on Tumblr. On Tumblr, I am seeing a lot of GIFs from the show, so official like art from the show, and I'm seeing a lot of writing, a lot of X-Reader fan writing with it, which if you're not familiar, X-Reader fan writing is a situation in which someone writes a story about a character from a piece of media and they are in a romantic context with another person, but the other person is written to be called the reader or just you, and then the reader, aforementioned, is supposed to read the story and imagine themselves to be the partner, the romantic interest in this context. And all of the ones that I've seen for this are really quite explicit. So that I think is a lot of what's happening on Tumblr. I am seeing a lot of X-Reader content specifically about Muzan, so I'm gonna look him up because I always like to figure out who the most popular character is, and sometimes who the sexiest character is, which is not always the same person. For example, if there is a man with white hair, sometimes he's the sexiest character but not the favorite character, and sometimes he's both. And in this case, I will say, I don't think I've seen anything about this Muzan on Twitter or anything like that, so he might just be the sexiest character and not the most popular character. But we'll see. He's kind of cute though. I like the I like his jacket. Muzan Kibutsuji is the main antagonist of Demon Slayer. He is the Demon King, the first of his kind, and the progenitor of all other demons in existence. Okay, well. So I never said that I had good taste. Okay, and also in retrospect, he does have red eyes in this picture that I'm looking at, so I probably should have guessed that he was the bad guy. Okay, but he's cute, so I don't know what to tell you. Wait, it says, okay, on the wiki, not the shipping wiki this time, this is the actual character wiki. It says age, less than 20 human, parentheses human, about 1,000 chronologically, and greater than 10,000 biologically. Sir, how do you do that? How do you have a human age and a biological age? I did not notice that much fan art on Tumblr either, but I will say fan content of the explicit kind in writing is also a very big part of fan culture has existed for a long time and is nothing to sneeze at in terms of fan engagement. So, you know, I think that is cool as well. I am just a little surprised by the lack of fan art, but that is some of the main social media kind of gathering we're going to do for right now. Normally I'd go on Reddit too, but Reddit is going through a bit of a explosion right now. So we're not gonna go on Reddit, and we're gonna take it straight to everybody's favorite time, my least favorite time, but the thing that people love to argue about in the comments. It's, oh, you can't see it. You really, okay. It's ship time. It's ship time, baby. I'm just gonna leave, honest. Okay, I'm gone. I'm out. Oh God. Okay, so as per the shipping wiki, the top 10 AO3 ships for the Demon Slayer fandom are... So we're just gonna look at the pages for the top 3 and see what's happening. Number 1 is Zen 10, which is Zenitsu and Tanjiro. Canonical fanon, obviously. They are besties. Both are dead? Post time skip. Sorry, that was just like the first thing I saw. Oh, their first encounter involved Zenitsu pestering a girl to marry him when she was clearly against it, forcing Tanjiro to remedy the situation by pulling Zenitsu away from the girl. What? Wow. That's a note to start off on. Oh wait, so Zen, Nezu, and Tankana are canon pairings, and Nezu is the Tanjiro's sister. So I guess this guy ends up with his sister. Interesting. Still kind of weird, but that's fine. We're gonna go to number 2, Sonic Gyu. They're in Wind and Water in the Demon Slaying Corps, and they are polar opposites personality-wise. But they get along very well. Also known as Hurricane. That's a cool ship name. Hurricane. Fans like to call the pairing hot-headed idiot x oblivious idiot. Wow, we love an idiot for idiot couple. Oh wow, in the main series, Gyu had been shown to smile 4 times as an adult, and 2 of them had to do with Sanemi. That's so funny. That's so funny. Okay, the third ship. And this one is heterosexual. So, and that one is Shinobu and Gyu. And Gyu was the one from the last, the other ship, the one we just talked about. This one's also fanon, it's not canon. Their status of relationship, frenemies, friends, comrades. Okay, they get reincarnated. Okay. Wait, she's the insect pillar? They have an insect-like thing? Well, okay, so I read the thing and it said they use breathing techniques to hunt demons or whatever in this show, and unfortunately all I could think about was vaping. But how do you breathe insects? Oh my god. Smoking a monarch butterfly, just laying waste to demons. That's cool. They are good friends. Slay. People are saying it's semi-canon though, because she did kind of confess in like the indirect way. You know, have you heard, I feel like I read about it on Tumblr like 10 bazillion jillion years ago about like, if you say the moon looks lovely tonight, that's like an indirect way of saying I love you in Japanese, because it like, I don't know if it's because it sounds similar or what, it's just a thing. And I guess she said it to this guy, but I don't think that makes it, people are saying that makes it semi-canon. I don't think it makes it semi-canon because it's not like he said he reciprocated. It's just like, I guess it makes it semi-canon that maybe she's into him. I have nothing against this ship. I have nothing against these people. I don't care. I'm just saying that on a technicality.
Now let's say, hypothetically, if someone confessed their love to someone else, and the other person, hypothetically, he did not reciprocate that love. Hypothetically, would this be considered semi-canon? No, because definitionally, in this hypothetical scenario, the meeting
Well, those are the top 3 ships. And honestly, I will say usually in most of these fandoms, there's like loads of like, when I look up drama and controversy and stuff like that surrounding them, I see a bunch of things about ship wars. I don't think I've really seen anything about that, which is fine. I get, maybe it's because people know like who people end up with. Not that that's stopped any other fandom. Those are the ships. I thought, well, we'll just take like a really brief look at AO3 as well. I looked at like the ratings and stuff like that. It looks like most fic are like teen rated and then gen rated, and then obviously there's some more explicit stuff there too. Yeah, I went on AO3 and everything seems pretty normal. Otherwise, nothing too much to report other than the fact that the manga and the anime have different fandom tags on AO3, and each of them has like 17 to 18,000 works, so combined it's a pretty that's a pretty hefty amount. But I think that's about all the time we have for talking about fan works, so I think maybe now would be the time that we should transfer over to my favorite segment, which is This Is Not a Drama Show. It's where we talk about drama. And there's a lot of drama to talk about this time. I'm gonna have to cut out a bunch of the other stuff that I said. Some people are arguing that Demon Slayer fell off, it's less popular now, and then some people are arguing that season 3 is not that good. We talked about that a little bit already, but it is worth mentioning that that is going on. The other thing that I saw was some disappointment with the movie. I guess in May, they made a movie of Demon Slayer that they were releasing in theaters, but it's not like a movie that's all entirely new content. It turned out to just be the last 2 episodes of the previous season and then the first episode releasing early of the next season. I think maybe some additional content in there, but so a lot of people were upset because they're like, oh, you're just repackaging the same content you're going to produce anyway and asking for more money. A lot of people who knew what to expect more were more happy with it, I think, because they were like, oh, it was a chance to get to see those episodes on the big screen and it was a chance to get to see the new episode early, and they were happy with that. So I think that's fine. I feel like, you know, whatever. That's drama, I guess. Done, dusted, easy, easy, easy. The next big one is the sister, who is the demon. So the demon sister, at one point undergoes a change where she ends up becoming an awakened demon, which is also like kind of like a demon berserker form where they like go crazy and get like hella strong and they're more powerful and they kill a bunch of people. It's a little weird for people because in that form she ends up being at her like mature stage, so she physically is like becomes physically an adult but is still wearing the clothes that she was wearing when she was much younger, because normally in the series she's like 14 or 15. She's quite a young teenager, and now what this means is that she's like uber sexy and is all like boom, you know, there's a lot of like boom 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 in her appearance at that point. So there was a lot of discussion of like, first of all, is that messed up, which like, I mean, yeah, kind of, and then also, is it messed up then to think that she's sexy and sexualize her in that moment, which like they drew an adult woman in a tiny kimono. Like they didn't have to do that, obviously. Like a lot of people are arguing, well, oh, well, in this form, she's fully an adult. Normally she's they didn't have to do any of that. Like, come on. But it also like is a thing that you kind of have to expect from anime. It is fan service is a staple of the genre, and portraying very young women in like sexually appealing ways is also a staple of the genre. Doesn't mean that it's right. And I know that it's something that over time is getting better, is getting less common. So yeah, that sucks. I don't know that it's like really worth arguing about that much, but I'm not surprised that people argued about it a bunch, I guess. The last controversy that I wanted to talk about is one that I find particularly funny. So I guess some people had complaints with I think it was the latest season of this show, right? As we've mentioned. So that would be season 3. And so because of that, some fan tweeted,
"My explanation for the badness of Kimetsu's drama is that the author is a woman. Women are emotional by nature and are affected by the simplest things. If a donkey cries, you can cry because of it. The same applies to the writer of Kimetsu. She thinks her drama is impressive while she is not. Her thought is limited about drama, so she is forced to repeat scenes and dramatic events. The result is a weak and vulgar drama."
Okay, well, so, I mean, this to me reads as a bait tweet, number one. I suppose if it were a real bait tweet, they might have gone even harder. But it's obviously, this is not a serious critique that anyone should be taking seriously, but I guess it did form there was like a bit of controversy and debate that happened afterwards. I don't think it's really worth going into. Obviously, if you like have watched the video thus far or watched anything that I've ever done or just like looked at me for like 1 second, you know that I think that's the stupidest crock of bullshit that I've ever heard in my entire life. So it's not really worth like going into arguing about it. I do think it's funny that spewed up enough debate that some of those websites, you know, the ones that write articles about video games and anime and stuff like that, because they're just chasing clicks and they're chasing controversy and they're chasing like any search terms that people are using. The fact that they would write an article about it is very funny, but also they'll write an article about like a bug dying at the Nintendo building. So I don't know that that actually means that it was that big of a deal. I wouldn't say that any of these things constitute a particularly drama-filled or particularly controversy-filled fandom, especially not for one of its size that is on so many platforms and that so many people have been participating in. Because that's generally what I'm looking at, is I'm kind of trying to think, is there like actually that much arguing going on here comparatively to other fandoms with comparatively the same size? Because we all know the number one rule of basically any fandom is the more people there are, the worse it's going to be. Now, when it's small, it can be more personal and it can be more personally destructive, like to you on a personal level, but in a big fandom, the whole thing is just gonna seem like awful, because when you put that many people into like the internet equivalent of a room together, they are going to come up with the stupidest things to argue about in the world because they have nothing better to do with their lives. If you ask me, the whole thing seems fine. I think the fandom is not that bad. I am a little sad that I didn't really see fan art though, because that is always one of my favorite things. For this one, I like to give a rating at the end. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of how I feel. The points are made up. Nothing matters, okay? So for this one, I am going to give it, okay, here's the thing. I actually want to give it a 7 just on its like own merit, but I need to give it a 6 because I want to give it a 666 because demons. So that is my official rating, is a 666 out of 10. And if you're here, by the way, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. We can slay some demons together, and if you would maybe comment and like the video and stuff. I've been blown away with the reception on my last few videos, but I'm still small enough. I read all of your comments. So if you want to tell me how much I suck and how stupid I am, I am a really good person to do that to, because I probably will see it unless one of my friends deletes it first. Thanks, I love you, bye!